video, I showed you how to tell if an article is peer-reviewed and how to find one. In this video, I'm going to show you how to read a peer-reviewed article. The first thing I want to recommend is that you use, sometimes you'll have different options like HTML and PDF. I recommend using the PDF because it's going to have page numbers, and you're going to need to cite those page numbers in your argument, or in your paper. So you want to refer to the page numbers on the page, right? So this is page 1 out of 20, this is 2. So those are the page numbers you would cite depending on what quotes you use. Now, a peer-reviewed article is going to have certain characteristics. Like I said, it's going to be more complex, but there's a tip that I'm going to give you that will help make it easier to make it through the peer-reviewed article, because usually they follow a pattern, and sometimes they're structured differently, but typically they will start with an abstract. It's a good idea to read the abstract to kind of get an understanding of what the argument's about and if the paper is even relevant to what you're trying to write about. Sometimes it looks relevant and you read the abstract and realize, oh, this actually doesn't have much to do with what I'm trying to say about the topic. So usually they'll have an abstract. Read that first. Then go through the introduction. And like as I'm looking at this abstract, I'm noticing a lot of big words. So it might be that the abstract helps you realize that, but you might have to do a little bit of reading to figure out if it's actually relevant. So read the introduction, of course, by all means. A lot of peer-reviewed articles are going to have an introduction and then like a materials or a methods section like this. And then usually they'll have a discussion of the what they found and a kind of a conclusion. So when it comes to the materials and methods section, I would read this, you kind of skim through it, because as you can see here, it's going to be pretty technical. This is how they show you that this was done in a scientific way, but a lot of people will get lost in this section. So don't worry too much about like really closely annotating the methods section. Just skim through it. This is just to show you that the study is credible. But a lot of it's not going to make sense to you. So just kind of power through that section. Don't read it slowly. Skim through it. And then when you get to the discussion, that's going to be the important part. So the results and the discussion are the parts that you really want to read carefully and slowly, because that's where they tell you what they found. The methods is just how they found it, but the results and discussion is what they found and the conclusions they draw from it. So read the results section. Again, it's going to be somewhat technical, like this stuff, but really try to, as you look at the discussion, see what you can learn from it, and try not to be overwhelmed by all the scientific jargon, right? These are written by scientists, so this is where those annotation skills are going to come in handy. For this section, you do want to annotate it, maybe print it out, or at least you can use Hypothesis, which is an extension that you can add to Google Chrome, and that'll allow you to annotate things online. So really read the discussion closely, and so read the introductions, read everything, but skip through or skim through the methods section, and then read the ending parts more slowly. That will make it easier, but you might need to look up some words. You might need to use your critical reading skills, your critical thinking skills. You'll definitely need to read it more than once, the key sections. But you can get a lot of good information from these peer-reviewed articles. So those are some tips that will be helpful to you as you search for the peer-reviewed source.